My entire life I've been looking for gold. The only problem is, I don't know what it looks like. Let me check my guidebook. It seems people are always arguing over what is the best era of Nintendo. Most people just pick what they grew up with. I can't do that since I grew up with yeah. So I'm gonna go over every era of Nintendo and determine if it's actually the gold. First, the arcade era. No. Okay, seriously, I love Nintendo, and the first Donkey Kong, it's a really good game. This was more of a build-up for them, because try to name any other Nintendo game in the arcades, and I know Space Firebird did not come to your mind. Okay, next, the NES and Famicom are to many might be the golden era. For one, Nintendo became a huge success right away, having ROB save video games and coming out with classics like Super Mario Bros., Duck Hunt, and of course Gyromite. You can't forget Gyromite. Throughout its life, we were introduced to mega franchises through Metroid, The Legend of Zelda, and Mario, along with great one-shots like Wario's Woods and Excitebike. Along with that, the Game Boy was coming out with games like Super Mario Land and Tetris, which made gaming for everybody. The Game Boy was so huge it destroyed any competition in the handheld market. Poor Sega. After all of this, is this gold I'm looking for? Next era, Nintendo followed up the NES with the SNES. Also during this era, great games came out for Game Boy. Pokemon, Kirby, Link's Awakening are all examples. The SNES had games like F-Zero, Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, Super Metroid, Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, Tetris Attack, Earthbound, Mario Kart, Chrono Trigger, Star Fox, Mario RPG, Final Fantasy. Yeah, they were doing amazing. But they did have competition in the form of the Sega Genesis, which allowed mature content for a small amount of time was outselling the SNES. No. 3D gaming, yay! Nintendo had their entrance to 3 dimensions, technically through the SNES, but let's be real, it's the N64. Some say the Game Boy Color was a separate console, but it's not. Forgetting that, the Game Boy Color was still excellent, and to be fair, it came with exclusive Zelda games, but its lifespan was short-lived. The N64 though, which released here in 1997, had games like Mario 64, Star Fox 64, Pilot Wing 64. Real creative with these names here. F-Zero X, no Metroid, Donkey Kong 64, Mario Kart 64, Banjo and Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and of course The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. In which Ocarina of Time is considered the greatest game of all time by many. Also, Rare, the company was making games for Nintendo. A lot. This Banjo-Kazooie, 007, stuff like that. The main problem during this era was the lack of third-party support, because Nintendo stuck with cartridges, and a god-awful controller, and PlayStation. Yeah, PlayStation destroyed Nintendo because of their discs, which it was easier for third parties. So, I don't think this is the gold. GameCube and Game Boy Advance had some bangers, but also Star Fox Adventure and other, games. But when GameCube was good, it was good. Super Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's Mansion, which shouldn't be the launch title, but whatever. The newcomer Pikmin, F-Zero GX, not Mario Sunshine, Mario Party 6, Mario Kart Double Dash, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which is a weird platformer that used bongos, Metroid Prime, and of course Wind Waker. GBA had Metroid Fusion, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario Advance games, weirdly enough no new Mario platformers, all the Pokemons, Wario Land 4, a few F-Zeros, that would be the last, and Minish Cap. These games are all pretty good, but Nintendo is still failing against its competition. But it's beating the Dreamcast at least. Again, Nintendo screwed up by making smaller discs, scaring away third parties. I don't know if this is it. The Wii and DS were mostly gimmicky generations for Nintendo. They shoved motion controls down our mouths and touch controls down our mouths. Doesn't mean these gimmicks were completely for the worse, as we got casual classics like Wii Sports and Brain Age that are genuine good games. We also got great games in general like Twilight Princess, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Punch-Out Wii, Pokemon DS games, of course Mario Galaxy, Nintendogs, New Super Mario Bros., and lastly Wally on the DS, the GOAT. These games with motion controls and touch controls were easily accessible and it brought over a whole new market and was Nintendo's best-selling era. It's that great, but a bit too hard for casuals for many. It scared the teenagers away. I wonder how Nintendo will fix this issue with their next console. The Wii U? It's not so great. The 3DS is actually pretty good though. The gamepad had nothing going for it. Not even Nintendo knew what to do for it. And the 3D on the 3DS was cool, but by the end it was just a cool gimmick. The best Wii U games were Nintendo Land, Mario 3D World, Splatoon, New Super U, Mario Maker, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which is my favorite game of all time. A lot of games were straight up mid like Game & Wario. The 3DS carried some bangers, like the Mario and Luigi games Link Between Worlds, which is my favorite on 3DS, Pokemon, 3D Lands, Tamagotchi Life, and tons of more games. This is obviously not Nintendo's golden age. From generic Mario to crappy ads to poor sales to bad games, this wasn't their best, but should be appreciated. The Switch, the hybrid console. This generation started off with Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, then Mario Odyssey. What a first year. In the next years, along with the Wii U ports, because games on that console deserve to be played, we got some great games like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Mario Maker 2, Smash Ultimate, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, New Horizons, Luigi's Mansion 3, Pikmin 4, Mario & Rabbids Bowser's Fury, and many more. What a lineup. Nintendo had been popping off, and I hate to say it, even though my nostalgia still exists for the Wii and Wii U, and I have such love for other eras, I think this is it. Sorry SNES and NES, but this era, wow, it has to go to this. I think that's the gold. Oh crap, it's the angry GameCube fans. I gotta go.